What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video on the Liberty Mower Clinic channel, YouTube channel. Today's feature video is going to be on this Craftsman LT1000. Just to kind of give y'all a rundown. I guess you can say that this one here is where I really cut my teeth, so to speak, and learned a lot. Trying to think of how to start the story. I will say that next to my push mower, this is the next oldest. My push mower is the oldest. This one's the next oldest in my fleet. And now, one of the things that I will say is that this is the second green LT1000 that I've owned. I actually owned one before this that was identical to it, with the exception of that one had a Tecumseh motor in it, and also I didn't know a whole lot back then. I got that one, and the Tecumseh motor had issues, and so I got angry with it and made an irrational decision and sold it, and actually bought two Toro Recycler self-propelled mowers, which is what that motor came off of. If you go back and watch my introductory video, you'll see the Toro Recycler. And I actually cut the yard for a while with that Toro Recycler self-propelled. And but again, like I said, guys, I live on just under 1.5 acres, and so yeah, riding mower makes it a lot easier, faster, just all around better. So my wife was at work one day. She works at the school, public schools, and one of her co-workers was telling her that she needed some work done in her yard, needing a fence tore down, and also telling my wife about how she had a few junk mowers sitting around. And so my wife, long story short, struck a deal with the woman, and I struck a deal with the woman, that I would go and tear down this fence for one of her junk mowers. And so that's what you're looking at right now, is that mower. And I was trying to put the amount of time that I've owned this particular machine, and I believe it's been 4 or 5 years now, I believe. Can't really remember right off the top of my head, but I can tell you it's been over 2 and 3. So anyway, let's see. Well, there's been so much I've done to this machine, I'm trying to figure out where to start. So I think I'll start with the motor, and then talk about the rest of it. So hold on one second. Alright, so the motor that is in it is actually newer than the tractor itself, than the lawnmower itself. But to back this up and tell you all the history of this mower, because this is actually engine number 5 in this mower. Originally, and you can tell by the sticker there, this machine came with a Briggs & Stratton 17.5 cast iron sleeve overhead valve Briggs & Stratton. So the story goes on that is that the woman I got this from, she bought this riding mower brand new from Sears, and she had issues with the motor. And then Sears came out to her place and put another motor in it, and then so that makes engine number 2 when I got it. And the motor ran for a little bit after I got it, and then it just wouldn't start. And what the issue was the compression relief mechanism inside the motor on the side of the cam had broken, so that it would not spin past the compression stroke. You could adjust the valves, you could put a new battery in it, you could jump start it, didn't matter. Once it got to the compression stroke, it would not spin over. And so so I pushed it out and was pissed off and was ready to junk it. And but then I looked online and saw a guy posted up on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, selling mowers and selling mower parts. So I called him up, and sure enough, he had some engines over there. So so I'm going to take y'all on a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for, trip down memory lane as to how this engine started out and how it got to where it is today. So again, like I said, this lawnmower had this ride mower had a 17.5 overhead valve Briggs & Stratton, and originally it came with a red plastic top. I know this one says 13.5, but it's the same appearance and everything as the 17.5. So originally, that's the original motor that came in this machine. That's what the top of the motor looked like right there. And then, like I said, I pushed it out, got pissed off, called the guy from Facebook Marketplace, and he had a 12-horse Briggs & Stratton flathead, and bought it, brought it home, put it in the mower, and I think it ran maybe a couple weeks and it threw the rod. And so I called him up and I said, hey, that 12 horse threw a rod, and he said, come on back and get you another one. So shot over there and grabbed a 13 horse that time. It was a 13 horse flathead, and put that in there. And that one actually stayed in there for quite a long time. What ended up being its demise was, and it was weird because it was still a good strong running mower, motor when I took it out of here, but the bolt that bolts the drive pulley on the bottom of the engine had snapped off up inside the crank, and tried my best to get it out, but I couldn't, and ended up breaking some tools and all of that. And not only that, but a guy from my church said, hey, I've got an uncle that has a couple junk mowers, and I'm sure he'll let you have one of the engines. So so then I shot over to his uncle's, and he had it was in a Murray riding mower, 540 cc Briggs & Stratton overhead valve, and that's what the top of that motor looked like when I got it. Now the thing is that I'm a huge fan of old school stuff, and really love those flatheads. I really love their appearance also, and I love the metal top and the airbox on the side like that. And so I worked my magic, you know, got some tools out and stuff, and so while that is the top for that engine, the metal cover and that airbox over there came off of the 13 horse flathead that used to be in this mower. Also had to change out the fan here. What it is the fan that was in there for that plastic top is actually a taller fan, so I could not mount that metal one on there, so I had to pull the fan off of the 13 horse, the metal cover and that, and so that's why it looks like that. But in all actuality, the only difference between that engine and the engine that's in the red Yard Machines MTD mower that I have, the only difference is that this one still has the factory crankcase and oil filter, and and I'll be talking about that here in just a second, a little bit more. So now that y'all know, this is a 540cc overhead valve Briggs & Stratton, and that is actually an engine that is newer than the mower itself. Let's see, what else have I done? The whole entire machine has been rewired. That was actually one of the first things I did when I started doing engine swaps and stuff. And my thing is I don't like all of the idiot switches that these come with. And I mean, if you can't mow in reverse without hitting something, then you shouldn't be mowing. So, you know, if you get off your mower while it's running in gear and you get off of it and it takes off on you, well, you know, so because I rewired this entire machine so none of the safety switches work, and also rewired it so I did not have to have key switch right there. It's a toggle switch, this headlights, toggle switch to start, and then my kill switch. Here in a minute I'll start up and show y'all how that all works. And what else? Not that it's the greatest or the best looking, but that is not the original seat. The original seat actually was a whole lot smaller, and also was way up too close to the, I could not drive this without the steering wheel hit my stomach. And so also it's very small, and so I wanted, because I'm a big guy, I wanted something that I felt comfortable in. So so that is not the factory seat. That is also not the factory seat bracket, which when I rewired it I didn't have to worry about the factory seat bracket or that switch. So let's see, anything else worth talking about? Well, I mean, my redneck ingenuity on my my grass flap there, a gate hinge, and nylon lock nuts. So really don't think there's anything needs to be discussed there. What else? Well, this one here is where I really learned a lot about the carburetors on these. I also learned about, well, I learned the difference between Nicky carburetors and Walbro carburetors, which is, this one's got the Walbro. And The Walbro carburetor is one that I got with the 12 horse. No, I'm sorry. It was the original carburetor to this mower. Yeah, the Walbro carburetor. The only thing that I've done to it to change it up a little bit is because, as with all newer riding mowers, they all came with a fuel solenoid, and you see this one does not have one. I was digging around. I believe it came off of a 12 horse, the 12 horse or the 13 horse, and I found the bolt that has the main jet in it. And so I took the fuel solenoid out, put the main jet in there, and so other than that, it's the original carburetor to the 17.5 that used to be in this machine. Fuel valve, fuel shutoff valve, that's when I really learned about it. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit more when I'm going to do an oil change on this. The oil filter, there's actually a guy on YouTube who posted up a video talking about finding cheaper parts and stuff at Walmart for your mower. And one of the things he talked about is the oil filter. And when I first put this engine in here, because all the other engines did not have an oil filter. This is the first one they ever had an oil filter, and also the first one I've ever had with an oil filter. And so Briggs & Stratton oil filters, $10, maybe a little bit more at the Walmart, maybe a little bit less at online, right around $8 to $12 in that area, depending on where you buy it at or whatever, which is ridiculous, and I'm not going to pay that much for an oil filter. So I got on that guy's YouTube video, and I'm not going to bend over and show you guys. Again, like I said, when I do the oil change on this machine, I'm going to make another video. But so that is a SuperTech oil filter from Walmart. SuperTech ST3614 to be exact. And slap that sucker on there and had no issues. And that one is $3 as compared to, like I said, $8 to $12. So $3, and then y'all can look at my oil change video that I just shot and put up there on the channel, and you'll see how much I pay for oil. So what else is there to talk about with this? I can't think of anything else. Just, I guess I'm going to start it up for you guys, let you hear it run, and in this video, I guess I'll talk to you all a little bit about the headlights. I didn't have headlights on this, and the buddy of mine that I got the motor from, the 13 horse flathead, I went over there and pulled out these headlights out of another lawnmower, and kind of wired them into the factory harness, but not really. And what I mean by that is that in a factory harness, it runs up to the key switch, and it runs off the stator and the engine and blah 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 blah. These go through the switch on the dash and then to the battery. They do not run off the stator and the engine. So okay, well, let's fire it up and shut it off, and that'll be the end of this video. So turn the fuel on, choke it, give it a little bit for that gas to run down into the carburetor, make sure it's got gas. That would not be good. And it's got a little bit, so hopefully it'll start for you guys. I'll show y'all the switch. There you go, guys. My son likes to call it the Frankenstein Mower because of all the work I've done to it and changes and everything, and I like to call it Old Reliable. Because after all these years, you saw it still starts up, it runs, it drives, it cuts. So comments, questions below, maybe even suggestions for names that y'all think it should be called. Thank y'all for watching, and God bless.